Hi, how are you? It's great to meet you today. I'm actually today going to talk about a topic that I didn't talk about for a long time, and it's teaching styles and educational psychology. I did talk a lot extensively in the past year about peer counseling. I left a little bit teaching styles because I wanted to focus more on care guidance and counseling and different things that I wanted to focus on before I had more time. So right now, I thought to go back and focus on the issue of teaching styles and education psychology. Today, we will focus on an important topic, which is basically you know it's basically um, what's really important for any teacher. It's the preparation. Okay. So preparation here doesn't mean that obviously for teachers they know. It doesn't mean that, especially after many years, it doesn't mean at all that you go and read the book, you're not the student, or it doesn't mean that you forget you have a class, basically. Okay, so you have these two extremes, right? We're in the middle here, and it depends what are you a teacher in kindergarten? Are you an elementary teacher? Are you an assistant? Are you a middle school teacher? Are you a special education teacher? Are you a therapist teacher? Are you a high school teacher, a principal, and a teacher? Okay. Or just a principal, you'd be surprised. Or are you a teacher of high school or university professor? Okay. Are you a tutoring, a private teacher, basically? Okay. So these are all these are all really important things to keep into consideration. Are you in a school? Are you an institution? What kind of style are you as a teacher? Okay, so basically, if you teach for a long time, this is piece of cake, and it's true. It's pretty straightforward. People defer of how they prepare, and it's many people as teachers um they like to know how the other what are different styles of preparation, just to get to know more. It doesn't mean that they're going to change, or it doesn't mean that what they're doing is wrong or right, or it doesn't mean that this is wrong or whatever. It's really important in the teaching styles and education psychology as a base um, uh, for each person to have their own autonomous or their own independent style. There's no right or wrong. This is really important. You have to be not only comfortable, it's you are not only self-confident, this is you. Okay? And you forget, you don't think, "Oh my God, no, 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 no." As a teacher, after many years, this is something a signature for teachers. It's just you and it's straightforward. Okay. So this is really important because many people who don't know teaching, or who are new, or even many schools actually, this is old style. Okay, and it's not wrong for newcomers. It's not wrong. It's not wrong for newcomers. It's not wrong for fresh graduates. It's not wrong for people who never taught before to look at models, like I said, to look at different things, to see how different teachers how different teachers teach their styles. Or that's amazing. Okay, it's not wrong. But as a base, in educational psychology, a professional kind of school or institution, or a professional kind of a professional kind of NGO, any kind of entity you can think about that has teaching, you just leave them. Everyone is different for different reasons. You may have a young person who is traditional. You may have an old person who is untraditional, or vice versa. I don't know. You may have a person who is a language teacher, and maybe here it's really important. Every person is different. You'll find that some math teachers are really fun, and the school for some reason has curriculum and has a kind of department of math that people love. People love it. Okay. Another school, no, they hate it. Okay. And guess what they do? They love another department, maybe social studies or history. Okay. And it doesn't mean that success and failure. Here it's not success and failure, and that's a different world of objectives. This is really important. This is important for people who think about, okay, preparation. No, no, no. I'm gonna here do kind of just not ideas. It's just a focal point on this point. Many people believe that, okay, preparation is the key success to teaching. No, that's wrong. Okay, teaching is a different kind of world. Every person is different. You'll be surprised. You have teachers, whatever you can think about, technology, to teaching services, to teaching kind of cooking, to teaching KG1, to teaching university level philosophy. I don't know. Okay. This is really important. It's really important to have this kind of approach to this field and topic. If you don't have it, if you don't have this kind of approach, yeah, it's not. You'll go into um different kind of borders and categories and labeling and everything you can imagine. You know, a successful principal is really a principal that leaves these given things in the school. That's a given. They think about the other priorities. There are so many different priorities for any school, right? And for any big institution. Okay, this is really important because 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 it's important for people to it's important for people to think about the different things that that make up a successful teacher, which is great. Think about it in your mind. A lot of people, and that's true, they get a lot out of it. Okay, and it's true. Okay, but it's not something that you want to do the opposite side, which is, you want to go into the thing and this is the teaching style. This is the teaching style. This is the number one way of teaching, or putting it in categories labeling. That's wrong. Okay, that's really wrong. It's open-ended. You can't criticize, or you can't do that. And actually, any successful school, even if they have what we call today a demo, that by itself is controversial. Okay, in the sense of, you know, it's controversial in the sense of, the old style of um what's it called? It's controversial in the sense of the old style of, you have a demo, and in the sense of the demo here, obviously, why is it controversial? Um because it just puts down the teacher. Okay, it puts down a lot of actually positive energy and positive development. You'll be surprised of how many students are different, teachers are different. In education psychology, it's one thing from my experience, and if you go into the field, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, there are different strategies and there are different techniques, but there's no right or wrong answer. And this is important. Here, obviously, we're not talking about a teacher who obviously they in the demo they say, yeah, my style is that every day I have a test. Okay, and obviously you know how the world changed today. You can't every day have a test, especially if it's sixth grade. Okay, you can't have that pop quiz every single day. Okay, that's kind of controversial, right? It's maybe, yeah, to that extreme, it may be beneficial. Then you look personally in that issue. That's my style. I don't accept to teach, except if I have a test every single day. Okay, great. Why? Okay, why do you have why do you have a test every single day? Okay, so what's your reason behind it? Here in the school, and that's great. We don't accept. Actually, we don't give tests. We have a different kind of curriculum and a different kind of direction. Okay, great. How was it? And then you talk, okay? So anyways, the demo here, in the purpose of maybe just to feel comfortable with the school, right? That's how it is, okay? That's really how it is. It should be like that. And it should be just for organization and just to be comfortable with the school, okay? Just to know how things go. It shouldn't be a kind of, you know, um, a kind of, in a sense of, especially if it's like, the teacher is experienced and knows, or not necessarily they don't have teaching, but they're really in the field strong. And then suddenly you find that, um, I don't know, the demo comes in and things go out of hand in the sense of, I applied to do, yeah, that's, I applied for maybe a math teacher, and then they tell you, yeah, we want um computer science, not math. Okay, I was interested in the post, in the math teacher, in that sense. And okay, great. It's up to you if you want, to deal with such a, that means there's an organization issue. Why don't you tell me, no, this is before the demo, and this is before everything. You do the demo for computer science. Okay, great. That is a big question mark because when an organization can't, you applied for math, and obviously when you applied, some people they're really into what it's not going, they're really into that subject in that sense, okay? And yeah, it's because in that sense, this is really important because some people may see disrespect, by the way. Yes, you are, I'm math based. No, I apologize, and they go, okay, organization and everything. So you go and you apply, or it's math, but you want high school. You're high school, no middle school, okay? Or that is a big question mark. So here obviously is the preparation organization of the school, and that's an important factor, right? For preparation, you are in an institution or firm that's organized, and you are organized. It's not the politics of that you will be seen as unorganized here, right? Okay, that's the big difference. You don't want to go to that degree. In education psychology, it's really important to be in a firm and to be in an institution that highly respects you as a teacher, that you don't even think about these things. That's a given. The environment, right? It's like being in a safe environment. It is safe. Okay, it's part of safety to be, and there are many. Okay, anyways, it's one of those prerequisites that's actually for professionality and safety. Okay, in educational schools and educational firms and educational centers, it's really important that they're professional and it doesn't have these kinds of issues, right? So actually they have other issues, which is great. Okay, so I don't know, whatever, maybe which is great, and the approach. Okay, maybe for example, I don't know what's coming up, which is normal every month and every year, and whatever demands there are, excellent communication, development, and that's all part of preparation. You are in the right place. As much as you fight and as much as you try to change your opposite, as much as um you try to have a good class, let's put it that way. The environment always has important um a kind of important kind of value. Let's put it that way. Okay. So it's an important value to have. This is really important because if you don't have that kind of uh, that kind of you know uh, that kind of asset, the environment, which is it's very important. It's security. It's more than security. Then the preparation, as much as you prepare, as much as you work on yourself and your class, it won't be successful. Okay? Because think about outside afterwards. Maybe it can come to you in the sense of as a school or as a firm or as a center. They would ask you, did you work there as a reputation? Maybe it goes that degree, that extent. Maybe it's not the department you're in. It's a school feature as a whole. Okay? Because it's really important for you to be aware of that. I know that, because there are a lot of factors that you have in mind usually as a teacher. It's not that easy, right? But it's an important issue. It's an important issue to have, okay? To uh, to think about to think about the different things that you know that's important for you to be successful, basically. So preparation actually comes from all these factors. It's not, you know, it's not the traditional way we think about you're not a student, okay? You're not a student, you're a teacher here. So we don't want to have stigma that you are responsible and everything else. It's a complicated set of um it's a complicated set of kind of yeah, responsibilities, but on a stigma way, I guess. You can say just work, right? A teacher, being teacher. You want to make it as fun and nice as possible, right? And actually, usually teachers who work in that field, they like their work. If you don't, you won't be successful, right? In that sense, you won't last, I guess. Okay. So in that sense, this is important because 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 many people do, usually they what they work they like and they look up to. Okay. Um, so this is really important, and it's an important kind of factor uh, to always think about. Okay. So here what I want to get to here what I want to get to is the issue of you know being a teacher, okay, and being successful in it. You need to be in the right place at the right time. You need to have these kinds of, your approach needs to be positive. This is for sure for fresh graduates. For other ones, it's a given, right? It's from experience, but this is for fresh graduates, people who are maybe things you never thought about. Okay, maybe, yeah, there is a problem in the school. Maybe I should apply to another school for next year. In that sense, I never thought of an environment. I don't know. Okay. So, but you have to know that it's not easy. That's why it goes back to you. But these are factors you should think about. Maybe if it's really bad to that degree, it can go back to you in the sense of reputation or anything else, or in the sense of you are forced to leave, and you know you don't you're not prepared. And anyways, it's the school is going down or the firm is going down. It's great that they're leaving you, but you're not prepared for to be, not to have a job or not to be in such a situation. Let's put it that way. Okay, so it's better um, to leave and not have the negative consequences of basically you're realizing that the environment and you have these different factors, then there is an issue, and you should start solving it. And as a teacher, this is uh, part of being prepared for class and for being, for being an efficient teacher in the sense of the school is the school is uh, the school is actually secure. You don't want to We don't want the stigma here, responsibility, but you don't want to be responsible of anything. And usually you're not, you're a teacher in the end, you're responsible of your class. Usually there's no stigma, you shouldn't go that route. There should be something fun, it should be developing, it should be fruitful, it should be strengthening for others. There's a huge positivity. If not, won't be successful at all. You're going to jail every day, okay? It's a whole class and you have a lot of things to do, but the teachers opposite, they see it as work, as their, everyday amazing kind of, I don't know, um, things they do, okay? So this is important, okay? That's number one. Number two, there's another factor here for preparation, which is that so besides all these factors, okay, so let's just summarize what we said so far. The environment, okay, your approach, making sure that's part of preparation, making sure that you're comfortable, secure. And also we said that make sure that you are taking the right decisions, you have no stigma, and so forth. The next part for preparation, which is really important, is um uh is the next part is basically to be prepared for, you know, for any kind of challenge. That's important, whatever it is. Okay, you kind of have in your mindset an organization, and this comes through experience, right? Okay, experience doesn't know its competence, but for fresh graduates, for people who want to learn more about education psychology, especially about preparation for teacher, it's facing challenges. You are obviously doesn't come 1 or 2 days, and that's normal. And it's normal in the beginning to learn. Don't think about it as a failure or as you went down. It's a challenge I'm learning from. It's like going to class and reading a textbook. Some teachers they like to use this language with their students. Sometimes the student tells them, teacher, you did a mistake. You know, I I, for example, turned in my homework last week and you didn't grade it yet. And I told you in the middle of the week or in the end of the week, that in the end of last week, let's say that I gave you the homework. Okay, so I want to know my grade. I want my homework back. Okay, thank you for reminding me. It's okay, even if you know that you lost the homework. Um, Thank you for reminding me. Give me time, and after tomorrow, for example, I apologize if for some reason I can't find it. Are you sure you give me? Yes, I did. And and just think about this is a learning experience for you of why, for some reason the homework you didn't give back to. It may be in the piles, and for sure it's in the piles, okay? Or it may be that you gave the grade, you didn't give back. Obviously you're in the class and so you don't know. You don't know if you don't have it, you don't know if you graded and it's on side, you don't know. So so what happens is that it's just tell, you can tell the student, this is a small example, obviously, but you can tell the student that this is a learning experience. Thank you so much. For me, you were my teacher today that in the sense of, um, I should have, I should have, gave you the homework and it can be in such a way, right? Especially if you're in middle school or elementary. In high school, no, I apologize. There's a lot of things on my mind. This also becomes, I'll give it to you as soon as possible. Okay. And for some reason, if, you can't find it, then you would, in high school and university, you would have a kind of mutual kind of cooperation where it's maybe that maybe I did give it to you. I have it in my grade book and I have it on my Excel sheet that I graded your homework and I gave it back to you. Can you help me out on this? Yes. Do you have it? Please double check. Okay. This is really important to take that approach. Amazing. Okay. You don't say, I have my grade book, you're a liar. No. Okay. Obviously not. Okay. Here in the high school, it's very different than in elementary and kindergarten. Okay. Or in middle school. In middle school, elementary, usually it's like you kind of want to have a learning experience for you and for the middle school. See, like this, you change the challenge to a learning experience. Okay. Obviously, for whatever is in high school or middle school, whatever. Okay, great. Maybe he will find, maybe he lost it. He found it. Thank you so much. Okay. So you can tell him, you found it. Thanks. Okay. I have my grade book. If you don't have it in your grade book and you didn't grade Excel, then it's a different story. Then usually it's with you. Okay. Maybe you did you turned them into him or her, but whatever. Okay. So it's with you. So what you do is, can you help me out on this? Just double check I didn't turn and give it to you by mistake. Okay. I will on my side see it. If we, worst case scenario, you should in high school. I didn't find it. You didn't find it. In this case, you're exempted from the homework. Okay. You're exempted. And just make sure that, if I give back the homework on the day and you didn't get the homework or the grade, then you should on the same day tell me. Okay? Don't wait until after a week. If you wait until after a week, usually it will be lost for whatever reason, on my part or on your part. And you can try to explain high school, you can go on if you feel that it depends, the student is mature, then they know. Okay? Yeah, I apologize. It's a mutual cooperation in the sense of I will next time just tell you on the day. Great. Okay, it makes it so much easier for me and you. Okay? University and adult even more, right? It's mature. Adult, right? But for middle school and high school, it's different. Yeah, so it's a learning experience for me. Why don't you on the day tell me? Yes. Okay? On the day you tell me, guess what, miss? Yes. Okay? Or, it's better to tell me on the day so we don't get lost. Okay. Yeah, put in your homework book that, if this happens, I tell the teacher right away. Okay? Then the teacher doesn't get lost. Right? Because I have all these things. I have all these stacks. Do you want to come and grade with me? No. Okay. Yeah, you don't want to come and grade with me, right? It's a lot of work. I have a lot of homework every day. I have my own homework. Okay, and you go on. This is really important. It depends on, okay? It may be pretty simple. Okay. So this challenge, you change it to a positive, positive kind of approach. Okay. So this is really important because if you don't have that, then it's, it will be kind of challenging for you and you can run into problems. Okay. So always turn challenges into positive. Okay. This is one of the things for educational psychology, which is pretty nice. And you'll find that this space, if you have in your approach, a lot of strategies and on all of things that in educational psychology and material curriculums that are there will be so much easier. And for sure, part of preparation is that that in educational psychology today, it's highly inappropriate to have any kind of punishment, especially institutions and schools and everything. Punishment is not allowed. That's a base. And so that's why you have challenges to what? To positive. It's not professional. You should be in an environment that develops that. And it should be environment that are organized. It doesn't mean if you develop that and you're unorganized, you can run into a lot of problems. And we said that's part of the security for you as a teacher. Okay. So, and it should be kind of, um, it should be straightforward. Okay. So this is really important because it's um it's an important factor that for security and for different things basically. Okay. And also there are different things that you should have in mind. Um this is part of preparation. Okay, part of preparation is that you have that. Okay, that's what's really important. Because if you don't have all of these kind of prerequisites, which is given for teacher after many years, but as a fresh graduate, it's important to start like that as a fresh start. If you want to go into the field, um, it's important for you uh, to have all of these characteristics. Okay. As well as it's important for you to be independent and strong. Yeah. So as a fresh graduate, you know yourself, you know your class, you go into and you are really strong as a teacher. Okay. You are not dependent on the system or in the school or anything else in the sense of, every step you take, you call the teacher. Obviously not. Yeah, that's obviously not okay. So from the first time you go in as a fresh graduate, your first class, you should be strong. You should think about the class as an opportunity and learning experience for you, different than the textbook, different than the school, different than the work. Even if even if you're the first day as a teacher, and many people have that. So as we said in today's world, everyone knows this is at least we're now in the technology world. Doesn't mean that if you didn't graduate with a pure education diploma and a pure license and a pure kind of teaching, I don't know, I teach high school math and da 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 da. Okay, no, actually that's the positive part in education psychology, which is really important to be flexible. Okay, many people they graduate maybe architecture, they're not teachers, they didn't take the license, and they maybe teach art and math. It's that simple. Okay, so that's why you have a resume and CV. Then if it's that straightforward, then there's no resume or CV, right? There's no interview, there's no demo, there's no kind of world of career. If it's that simple, that would be great. Okay, but it's not. Okay, so you have skills, you have background, you have culture, you have different things there. It's not straightforward like that at all, right? And that's also a preparation for you as a teacher in the sense of being flexible. It's not straightforward, okay? And this is important. So maybe as a fresh graduate, you want to teach. That's great. Why not? You can teach 2 years and try it out. You graduated from actually something, usually they go teaching English literature, okay? Which is, yeah, you can teach right away and have a great career in teaching. If you want to excel and develop and do a PhD, maybe even in language or literature, or you want to have teaching license, that's great. Or you want to go into, I don't know, another language like French, that's great. That's you. But your career, it's very strong. Okay, this is really important because when you first go, you have all these ideas, and that's wrong. In today's world, whatever you graduate in, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna purely do that kind of work. You graduate from math, you're gonna only work math. So what is math? Okay, it's complicated, right? You can afterwards be an assistant and be a professor in university. You can work in computer science field if you're obsessed with computer technology. You can work in being a math teacher. You can, in math, you can work in different institutions and firms and business and infinite. Okay, you can be a technician. You can be a kind of, um, I don't know, a kind of excelled kind of mathematician in medical school. Okay, you'll be surprised of how different fields you don't need a license or you don't need these extra years of university or um, of any kind of expertise. Be flexible. This is really important. This is part of being prepared as a teacher. Okay. So um, if you are not flexible, if you don't have this flexibility, then you'll find it kind of hard. Because in school or in university or any kind of teaching um, environment, flexibility is important. This comes through experience, no problem. Okay, and it's not like you know, maybe you're inflexible, that's fine. Just make sure that you know you're strong and you have this confidence and you're working, your approach is positive basically for you and the class and everyone else. That's what's important. You don't want these factors to get in your way. These factors don't play a big role, actually. It's your skill, it's your background, it's different factors. It may be, for example, you're still doing an internship in a kind of, maybe it's your second year in English literature and you do an internship and then you have a great experience, you teach right away in a school. Okay, and you graduate after 2 years. It's just important for them to know that you're going to graduate. Even that you teach and you do doesn't mean that you are, you know, a kind of and you do, and that it may be the factor of they know you well or no, you applied, you want to teach in that school, you want to have a good stable job for afterwards for financial needs or for other needs, or you want to do a PhD or you want the experience right now and move on. This is really important because um, this is part of preparation and to be flexible. Okay. Or being flexible is that I'm not that type. My character is that I need a license. I need to be very, very strict. I need to be very strong. I am inflexible in my field. I want to have at least PhD when I teach. Excellent. That's you, right? Okay. And if that's you, that doesn't mean that everyone has to be like that or that that's the right way. It's my character. I don't know. Great. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is really important because um, what I want to have the point here is that that's great if you have these ethics and morals, but don't, you know, people are different, structures are different, and um, te teachers are different, and this is what's important for you to know, and you would know. Okay. Um, so this is what's important. Okay. Now, for example, you're a person that doesn't believe in any kind of school system or anything. And guess what? You have a degree from a college, university. You're an extraordinary teacher. You're an extraordinary teacher, and you know, okay? You know you're an extraordinary teacher, but you're just like that. That's your character, okay? And that's how you are, okay? And so, in that sense, also the same thing. As a preparation, you can't, this is, okay, you have to be flexible with even that character. Okay, so that character is amazing usually, but you have to be flexible. Not all people are like that. Doesn't mean it's the right way. Doesn't mean it's it's the way that everyone likes. People are different. Cultures are different. Styles are different. Okay, in that sense. So this is what's important. So sometimes, especially that so this is part of preparation, is that you're aware of it. You're aware of these factors. That's what's really important. Okay, so and you are comfortable, and not only that, you have all of these factors to to develop on. If you don't have all these factors, then it's a big issue, can be a big issue. So this is all part of preparation. So let's right now just go back to the main feature of the second factor, is challenge, making it positive. And this is all part of it. Please subscribe to my channel and send me any kind of questions or comments. Maybe you believe otherwise, I don't know. I would love to talk about different topics of educational psychology in this field of preparation, in the field of the prerequisites or the factors that are really important for such, to have a successful kind of teaching style. Anyways, usually teachers, after many years of experience, they have their own style. It's independent. There's no kind of right or wrong. Okay. And this is what's important. If you are very, very rigid about your own teaching style, that's great. But, people are different, teachers are different. This is an extraordinary, actually, talent being a successful teacher, is that you are aware of the environment around you in the sense of everyone is different and there's no set teaching style, which is really important. Now, if you are in a school that you feel inflexible and they're having an issue, or the firm, or that they're really obsessed with a certain kind of style, okay, for different reasons, okay, then make sure you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you will not be successful. Because by that, that goes against what we talk about inflexibility, and goes against the fact that they should not, as a successful firm, to oppose their own kind of style. You are, as a teacher, free to have any kind of style you want. It's a given, right? Because this is an important factor in educational psychology, is that you are independent and everyone is different. This is important for preparation. If you don't have that base, then you'll be lost. And maybe after many years, you wish that you got it 5 years ago. Oh, okay, I can do it. Okay, yeah, yeah, maybe you have, everyone is different. Some, they are obsessed more with projects, assessments, as maybe not tests or anything. Even if the school is test-based, they may do it in a different kind of style. Maybe they are more test-based. Maybe they are not. They are more, you know, they're more like, obviously here there's a curriculum and there are different objectives, but here you'll be surprised in the curriculum of how flexible it is for you, and how a successful school does give you that kind of flexibility. If you don't have that, then it's not for sure you'll be successful. And sometimes it can be that you cannot work except through them. So you the school is so organized in that way, in the sense of it imposes its own style. You're lost, and it poses its own kind of features. Okay, to the degree that you can't work except like that. Okay, that's wrong. That's what you don't want to have as a teacher. Does that make sense? That's not a challenge, that's a weakness. This many teachers have after many years of experience. In education psychology, the highest stress on that. Your independency as a teacher, everyone is different. And everyone is what is everyone is different. This is a successful environment, and teaching and being comfortable. Imagine the kind of students who graduate from you and the environment that you have. If you want to be a successful teacher in that sense, you don't want to be dependent on a school or a firm or institution. You want to be independent. And you'll be surprised of how much, usually an average, a successful, this is very important in today's world, that in these cases that I'm talking about, it's a given. This is more for fresh graduates. Okay? So and this is important because if you're not independent and if you're wholly dependent on a certain system and you're used to it or changing to be that you can't think except in that way, what if, this can put you down as a teacher? And sometimes schools may go against you in the sense of it's too much, right? You should go and, we want a kind of new blood. And that obviously goes against you in that sense. So this obviously it comes in traditional environments or cultures, or it comes in a public school or different characteristics of environments or firms. So keep that in mind. Maybe you can do for 2 years and you have your own kind of independence. But afterwards, you need to have your own character. You should not be dependent. This is really important because sometimes if this is for an environment to be as such, it means that it is part of preparation, which is important. It means that there is something wrong, okay? And they may run against you. It may not be that it's it may be that it's great actually. You're there and everything else. But maybe in the future this is normal. Maybe you run into other problems with the school, you're dependent on it. You have a kind of dependency on the you have a kind of dependency on its existence in the sense of you want to work somewhere else. You want to prosper and develop in a post, okay? In a kind of you want to travel. You want another post. You want to prosper in studies. Your husband wants to travel and you need to travel. All of these. Something situation happens and you have to leave the place. Okay? All these factors, obviously you lose it. And you have to start all over again. That's why you need to, as a teacher, have your own independent approach, your own independent ethics and morals. And you need to give space. So there's a kind of tradition where in the meeting they tell you, why don't you go and, they really, if you feel like they're always stressing on the fact that you need to change your teaching style, okay? This means that you need to take a decision. That means they're not respecting your independence. Obviously, you are strong and you tell them, yeah, this is my unit. They're not respecting your independence. Okay, which is really important, right? Yeah, it's fine if, for example, in the meeting or anything else, they tell you, guess what? It's just, you know, um, for number one, there's privacy, you as a teacher. And number two, maybe, for example, the parents, the parents are really happy and everything else after the meetings, and it's great. But I believe maybe you can use this approach with the student, maybe have a special education student. That's great. That's normal, right? That's normal. Actually, you learn. Okay. Maybe, for example, I believe the tests should be, easier, or the test should have more questions, or the style of your PowerPoint presentation should be kind of different in the sense of it should be less interactive, more interactive, or whatever. In essence, like I said from the beginning, the base, such an approach from a school is unprofessional, even for fresh graduates. Okay, there is privacy and there has to be um, a kind of a kind of independency, um, a kind of independency for you as a teacher. If you This is, like I said, the base of safety, and it's very important. Okay? It's very important because if you don't have that kind of space and dependency, then it's an issue. Okay? Let's say you have it. Okay? And um and the thing is, the firm or the school, for some reason, it's part of preparation, you are not successful in. Okay? You tried as much as possible. That means there's an external factor you don't know in the environment, right? This is important also. Okay? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. This is important for fresh graduates and going to do it. There is an external factor. Maybe you never know it. Maybe you never know it. But it's important for you to know. You did everything you can imagine. Didn't work out. That means that, yeah, you should find another kind of place to teach, which is really important. Because and you can find another place to teach, okay, which is actually great. And you may have other opportunities, right? You'll be surprised, maybe you have even a better opportunity. Okay? Because if it doesn't mean that it means that it may be an external factor you don't know, and it means that the environment, like I said. Okay? So here what's important is that you are strong and you see that the challenge is a positive. So here for the challenge is that it doesn't work out. So let's look at it positive, a better place. Okay, a better place, which is way more, which is important. Maybe the place is actually really nice, but it's not your style. And for some reason, there's an external factor. You find another place. It doesn't seem like, or it is, or it's even better. It's actually pretty flexible. You go and it's your character. You're very comfortable in it. This is really important for preparation because, like that, everything else will go by and it won't be as challenging. Focus on actually other more, you know, develop, more points or other things that are much more important for you to develop as a teacher, not to start from zero, right? So maybe you are a person that never dealt with special education, and that school they're pretty positive in their approach, not necessarily training or anything else, but you have that experience and it's great. Okay. Maybe in the school you have the new school that you're in, you never imagined that you know you would have such great connections with students and their parents. Okay, maybe you never imagined that you would excel in an extracurricular activity and you develop on that. You voluntarily did, or maybe they had that and it's something, why not? Okay, they asked you, or it's part of your work in the contract that you did, you like to make a kind of maybe if you're young for KG, and after school you play with them, or you play with them, or you do different things, okay, with them. So uh, as well as maybe besides the extra hours and the experience and financial part, you have you have a different kind of you know uh, of approach to life. In that sense, you never thought that all these this pleasure of playing, or maybe you go into the different styles of games with the children, the songs, the games, the approach. Maybe it opens a new world for you. You never knew, with nursery or KG or that kind of foundation years. With language, maybe you have such a great experience of language in after school, of different kinds of a characters or ages or whatever. Yeah, it's a whole new world there. Another example is you are your person your major was engineer and you're a math teacher and you're in high school. So you open up a club, an engineering club in high school. And guess what you celebrated as a teacher? You wanted that. You had that objective. Some know they want to excel in other things from that, right? So in the sense of they develop and prosper the club, maybe to be to have different programs for different objectives. You only wanted as a teacher. It was an engineering club, and you had the pride and honor to have these graduating students to go to excellent universities from different programs and different things. You believe that these students would excel in, okay, and they did. And that by itself is amazing, right? Or maybe you as a teacher, when you went to the new school, you as an engineering teacher, uh, you opened up an engineering curriculum in the school. So it was an elective or it was a course they can take in high school. And guess what? You became a professor in university. So you have different objectives. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. It was amazing. The engineering club was amazing. Okay. And so you have different objectives and it goes. Um, and you prosper and develop um, in that area. Okay. So this is really important because if you don't have, that kind of approach, it'll be very hard. Okay. And it can go into kind of different, different kinds of issues and problems and challenges, and you'll be lost basically. So this is preparation for you as a teacher, and everything goes by. Okay. So here, obviously, for the demands as a teacher in high school, obviously for the example of the engineering teacher, it may be the balance or whatever. Yeah, this is a given. But if you have that preparation, if you're comfortable and if you're safe, and if the school environment gives you all the necessary needs that you have, okay, they're not really insecure with you, then the thing goes by. And actually you can attain your objectives in a career, which is important. Or you attain your objectives as a teacher. As a teacher, you want to develop and prosper yourself in the engineering world, not only math. You graduate engineering and that was an objective you have. You like to teach engineering as a kind of class for high school students. That is, as a teacher, something you like to do. Okay, which is important, and you did. Okay, do you see? So this is in educational psychology, an important aspect of preparation. Here you're not a student. Here you're not in a textbook mode, which is really important in educational psychology world. Okay, here in educational psychology, you're not a teacher and you're not in the mode of test, reading, assessment, or reading, assessment, test, I don't know. You're not a student here. You'll be surprised of how much the preparation in these points are much more important and they do develop more than being kind of quote unquote practical in that sense because it doesn't respect you as a person for your independency and your objectives. Everyone is different. It's not that easy. The world of teaching is very, very different. Every class is different. The students are different. You have your own teaching style. In the end, educational psychology world, You have a kind of, there are different kinds of methods and everything, but it goes back to you. This is a preparation as a teacher, which is really important. If you don't have that base and you don't have that approach, you may run into many different problems, which is really important for you to keep in mind. Please comment and please have your questions. I would be more than happy because I would love to have your perspectives, your viewpoints, your different input on the different points that I talked about today. Hopefully, I'll talk more about different topics. If you have other topics, please provide them because right now I'm more into career. However, if you have your own topics, I'll be more than happy to have you as a guest if you want on my YouTube channel, which I would be more than honored to do so. I have other guests too for other topics. And as well as I'd be more than honored for you to just send me different topics I would share, we would share. You would send me questions and comments. Please subscribe and have a great day and summer. Bye.